Krishna Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Padma from Virginia, welcoming all of you to the Bhakti Sangha conference call today. And thank all of you for attending this session today. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy names which are to be avoided, written by Srila Vyasdeva in the Padma Purana. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be in imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda. 9. To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain marital attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank all of you for attending this session this morning. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May know who all have joined the call this morning. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण पद्मा माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीतिदासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Narottanam. I have no obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mata.
Hare Krishna and Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Please thank you, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. I think Prabhu is already here. Mataji, start.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Padma Mataji, Your Guru Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaji's. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidas.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Cincinnati.
Hare Krishna, Yashmati Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace Radha Pramod Das Prabhuji for enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter, and 16th verse. Before giving the call to Prabhuji, I would like to give a call to Ayan Prabhuji for give brief introduction about Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Please take over the call, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam. I offer my obeisances to all the civil devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. Here is a very brief introduction for our dear speaker. His grace, Radha Pramod. Prabhuji came to Krishna consciousness in 2001, and Prabhuji got initiated in 2006 by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Prabhuji completed Bhakti Vedanta Vidyapith from BVRC. Prabhuji manages a preaching center in Hyderabad. Prabhuji trains and educates corporate youth. Prabhuji gives daily sessions on Asta TV and other local channels. Prabhuji also conducts online Bhagavatam sessions for many devotee groups around India. Here's a brief introduction, Mataji. Over to you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, my power supply is not there here, so it's dark, so I cannot on my video. So I'll just share the screen.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for giving your valuable association and coming this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhu, 7th canto, 5th chapter, and 12th, 6th chapter, and 16th verse, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. Please take over the call from Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 16. Aniyatam Are Vetram Asmakam Ayas Kulagrasya Vidhes Chaturto Shodato Dhamaha. I just this- oh, please bring me a stick. This Prahlad is damaging our name and fame because of his bad intelligence. He has become like a cinder in the dynasty of demons. Now he need to be treated by the fourth of the four kinds of political diplomacy. Purport. In political affairs, when a person disobediently agitates against the government, four principles are used to suppress him: legal orders, purification, the offer of a post, or finally weapons. When there is no other argument, he is punished. In logic, this is called argumentum adi bachulam. When the two seminal Brahmanas, Sanda and Amarka, failed to extract from Prahlad Maharaj the cause of his having opinions different from those of his father, they called for a stick with which to chastise him to satisfy their master, Hiranyakashipu. Because Prahlad had become a devotee, they considered him to be contaminated by bad intelligence and to be the worst descendant in the family of demons. As it is said, where ignorance is bliss, it is folly to be wise. In a society of family in which everyone is a demon, for someone to become a Vaishnava is certainly folly. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj was charged with bad intelligence because he was among demons, including his teacher, who was supposedly Brahmanas. The members of our Krishna conscious movement are in a position similar to that of Prahlad Maharaj. All over the world, 99% of the people are godless demons. And therefore, our preaching of Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, is always hampered by many impediments because of their faults of being devotees. The American boys who have sacrificed everything for preaching Krishna consciousness are charged with being members of CIA. Moreover, the seminal Brahmanas in India who say that one can become a Brahmana if only only born in a Brahmana family, charge us with ruining the Hindu system of religion. Of course, the fact is that one becomes a Brahmana by qualification. Because we are training Europeans and Americans to become qualified and are awarding them Brahminical status, we are being charged with destroying the Hindu religion. Nonetheless, confronting all kinds of difficulties, we must spread the Krishna consciousness movement with great determination, like that of Prahlad Maharaj. In spite of being the son of the demon Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad never feared the chastisement of seminal Brahmanas, sons of a demonic father. ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा I apologize for not able to keep my video on because there is no electricity here. So it's all dark. So if I keep my video on, it will be a different setup here. So please forgive for that. So here, this chapter basically uh, Hiranyakashipu is trying to, he's giving guidelines to his teachers, somehow take care of my son. And they're trying their best. But unfortunately, Prahlad is not listening only. And he is doing whatever he wants. And the teachers are quite upset. They said, please bring a stick. This Prahlad is damaging our name and fame because of his bad intelligence. He has become like a sender in the dynasty of demons. Now he need to be threatened by the fourth of the four kinds of political diplomacy. This is actually what is presently happening in the educational system. They are expertly training people to become nice demons. They are giving this high class demonic education for people, and they want to people to think in this direction. They want to become like it. And it is considered to be quite normal if somebody is behaving in this particular way. If people are doing like this, is the experience whoever have taken to Krishna consciousness in the colleges and all. Parents really become annoyed if their children, they come to know that the children are drinking, smoking. Many of the parents, if they have some girlfriend, boyfriend, many of the parents, they feel it's okay, normal. But if they come to know that my child stopped taking non-veg, is not going to movies, He's not having any boyfriend, girlfriend, and instead he's going to temple. It's such a difficult thing for them to digest. They say, how come my son is not becoming a demon? It is fair if he becomes a demon, but we don't want this that he becomes. Now, why this, where the problems start is when the whole society uh, is the principle of the whole society is based on the definition for happiness is bodily sense gratification only. So this is based on the Dehatma Buddhi concept. So when this is the guideline or whatever we say, the the criteria for happiness, then it becomes quite difficult for people um, to accept and live accordingly. So I'm trying to keep my video on. So this is actually what is happening to the people, and this is quite common nowadays. Now we'll try to understand some other principles. I will try to see. There are these scientists and all. They're trying to solve the problems and trying to get something out of it, but it won't work because this is a demonic mentality. What is the important principle that is lying is this is all Dehatma Buddhi. That means I am the body, I am the mind, I have to satisfy it. And another thing is the underlying principle for happiness is people say that mm, to satisfy the senses and mind is the highest goal of life. Now we'll see here some very important points. When the two seminal Brahmanas, Sanda and Amarka, failed to extract from Prahlad the cause of his having opinion different from those of his father, they called for a stick with which to chastise him to satisfy their master. So they wanted to ask, how did he learn? And they ask this simple questions actually. They say, okay, my dear Prahlad, no, please tell where did you learn? Who came and taught you? And then Prahlad says, oh, what is the power of Maya? Now I heard from my spiritual master, now I am seeing. So they are trying to distinguish from friend and enemy. That is not actually what is needed. Now, they feel it is actually a contamination. And then Prabhupada gives that this is actually what happens in the modern society also. And we'll try to see some of the important principles that are working in this material world and how people are working. Why this type of situation comes, and how can we try to come out of these situations? Of course, it is not possible. So one important thing. So this is always very controversy. People try to change. They say, let us establish some dharma in this world. Let us try to make some good things in this world. And let us make a better situations of this world. But unfortunately, the bad news is that it is not possible only. And people say that someday, everything will change. We'll bring Varnashrama back. We'll try to have a good government, and then government will do something good. But unfortunately, these things won't happen only because it is Kali Yuga. And Maya does not allow these things to happen. So two things are working. One is Maya is anyway powerful, and there is Kali Yuga. So don't need to try. What we can do best is we can save ourselves, and along with us, maybe a dozen people we can save. That's the best thing we can do. Instead of apart from that, we cannot do anything in this world. It is not possible. By changing government, by changing dharma, we don't have to do anything with the politics that is happening around. No need of doing anything. It is it is a waste of time because it does not work only. I will tell some things nice which are helpful for us. which will make us understand that how much we are helpless. So that point I'll take. So because this is will why this is important for devotees, so that we can peacefully do our bhakti. Otherwise, we have some anxiety that maybe I have some responsibility for this world, and I had to save something. We cannot save anything in this world. So we'll try to discuss this world. See how we have to see this world. That is very important. Krishna explains actually, Bhagavad Gita, the world is completely under his control. First thing. And that a sensitive person can see and feel the presence of God in every moment of matter. And this is actually told again and again in the Shastras. God is not just transcendental to this world, but He is simultaneously uh, is present in this world also. He is simultaneously in this world also, even though He is transcendental. So the philosophy of simultaneously unity of God with the world through His incomprehensible energy, and the difference between God and the world, the transcendental God, is actually the basis of our worldview. That means we must learn to see this world through the prism of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Please try to understand what I am telling again. I'll repeat that God is not just transcendental to the world, but He is also part of it. This is very important. He is simultaneously inside this world, and also how he is inside this world through his incomprehensible energies. Okay, and he is different also separately. So the difference between God and this world is the transcendence of God. So he is transcendental to it, and he is also present through his energies. So this is called, and we have to learn to see this world through this Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. And see the world through this prism means to understand the closeness of God. Not just understand, but to realize the closeness of God. So, like, it's not that, like, the conception that the God is sitting somewhere above the clouds and is scratching his head and lamenting about what he has done. And no, uh, God is far above, and he is and who controls everything. This type of conception of God, it's actually, we have discussed this. There are, if you take Abrahamic religion, for them, God is very, very, very far. And there's no connection between the world and this world. Lord has just created it, and He left us for this world, and we have to figure it out. And if you don't do good, He will punish. If you do it, He will reward, and He will take him to the spiritual, whatever, heaven. This is unconception. So it's a quite a distance between Lord and the living entity here. Another extreme philosophy in India that we have is Mayavada. They make Lord too close to themselves that they say we are only God. So these two types of philosophy will not help us to develop love for Him. But the philosophy which we follow, in which Lord is not too extreme far, not too close. He is He is there in his transcendental abode, but he's also part of this world through his inconceivable energies. So, and he comes regularly here, performs his pastimes, stay with his devotees, will help us, encourage us to develop a relation with him, right? So, this is actually the view which we have about the Lord. This is very important. Now, we are used to see this world, uh, the world that represents failure is a combination of material cause and effect. And because if we see this world in this way, material cause and effect, and it's ultimately a failure. And we are not just used to it, we are attached to such a vision of this world. We want to see the world only like that. Because this in this world where only matter, material cause and effect acts, I have a very important role to play. You understand this one. If it is only cause and effect because of matter, material cause and effect, then I get an important role to play. Everything is according to the, but in this world, everything is according to the will of Lord. I'll try to understand this very, very important point. Very simple point, but I will one simple logic only, not much difficult. Because this world, everything happen according to will of Lord. My role immediately somehow abruptly becomes narrowed if we say everything is done by Lord. And a world where everything acts in accordance with the obvious Supreme Lord, material, clear material reasons. Now, this is a scientific view where there is material cause and effect. This is a scientific worldview. Uh, this is very helpful to understand this point because most of our problems are because we have some fight in the house and relationship is because of this reason. Because we think we have something to do it and we are in the control. But it's not true like that. This is a scientific worldview. This view of world in general has developed over centuries and has now reached a degree of perfection. Scientific world. This is a view of world where we are all measured by ourselves. Like uh, like there is the world. We measure everything. They say, okay. We ask how you measure. So, say one woman said, we are small this much. A man said, we are as big as this much. So that means what? The opinions are differing. So although it seems that to us that we are large, but in fact we are small. We are so small, shallow, and it's very, very small position. And now I will tell this. Like there is one in scientific journal, there is a famous scientific journals. They have published that there are 25 scientific problems that science could not solve. I will not tell all 25 because I also don't know money. But very important, which they did not solve in the 20th century. But in the 21st century, they say uh, they will be able to solve. For first 25 years, anyway, they didn't solve. But they are thinking they will solve. Now, but something similar happened in 19th century. 19th century also scientists said, what is there to remain in the 21st century? Whatever is there, we have already done. They just have to do something basic. But somehow they did not succeed. They could not figure out because the problems still remain. The list of the problems which are published, there are 25 problems that are not solved. And now we'll see, this is very important to understand. A small problem that has remained unsolved is where did this universe come from? This, in accordance with the latest achievement of science, they say 95% of matter and energy that exists in the universe is the scientists call as dark matter or dark energy. And according to Krishna, and especially in Srimad Bhagavatam, that the material world consists of what? Tamoguna. So the whole material world consists of darkness and dark ignorance matter. And they are trying to mm, use their brain and understand this, and the so many years will pass, and they'll not be able to solve this anyway. But now that is not important. Now, second thing, this is the important point. This is the topic of discussion for today, at least some part. The problem number two is, which they still remain unresolved, is the nature of consciousness. Please understand, this is nice. What is consciousness? How does consciousness move a material body? How does consciousness relate to this matter? And it's it is unresolved mystery for scientists. Now the problem is a person must understand one simple thing. What? The methods they are using to solve these problems, they are actually wrong. There are two fundamental problems that we must solve and understand. To the problem can be solved, but in a different way. But scientists could not solve. But we'll see. Uh, each of us, we should solve the problem of existence of material energy, material universe, in order to go beyond it. So two questions we should solve. What is first one? What is this creation? That means what is material energy? What is this consciousness? If we solve these two problems, then only we can go beyond it. What is how we are connected to matter? See, I am caught up in this matter. So unless I know how I am connected and how I am caught up, why this creation is made, I cannot get out of it, right? So this is what we need. But in order this to happen, a person need to change the way he is looking. The vision should be changed. The first thing is that why it is so difficult to comprehend God. That is the first question. Now, why do people fight? Why does Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit siddhaya tatam visdhanam kaschinmam veti tattvataha. This problem lies precisely in the same aspect that first we put God in the background. We are still using use it to doing it. We are doing it for long, long time, but it's actually not the way. It's actually very painful for us not to understand or comprehend God. So, not to acknowledge or understand His existence. How difficult it is for us to understand or acknowledge the existence of God. Because to enter, because acknowledging or existence of God means existence of another person. Another person means another relationship. Entering into relationship with Lord. And we need to do a lot more violence against ourselves to enter into relationship with another person. Like whoever is married, they have this experience. So how difficult it is to enter a relationship. Relationship with another person associates pain. This is everybody can confirm. Like in order to really enter a relation with another person, we need to step over ourselves. That means we have to give up our ego. In relationship with another person, we have the tendency in we want to subordinate other person. We want to see that this person listens to me. That's what we feel relationship. And this is actually always happens between but while it is impossible to enter relationship with another person simply subordinating. Uh, and the first step in dealing with God also exactly same. First thing is I have to do is recognize God's existence and His right to exist and recognize His freedom. He will do whatever He wants. And because we don't want to recognize the right of freedom of Lord, we always try to control, subordinate. Like wife try to control husband, husband, wife, and children. The parents want to control children, and each one tries one way or another subjugate the other person. But relationship means to go beyond myself. That I am dying. That means I am giving up my ego. I am acknowledging the existence of other person, and that is actually what is very important. Acknowledging the other person's freedom. Therefore, it is very hurting to us in a relationship with the other person because our ego dies. Like Bhaktit Maharaj has this book, Die Before You Die. What this means, die before you die means I have to die in a relationship with every other person. That means my false ego dies so that I can be reborn again. That is what the relationship requires. And now, this is if I want to enter a relationship with God, I must die as an egoistic person. My ego should go away, and then it is easy. Now, Krishna explains that uh, to understand Krishna, we must begin to measure the world with God and His existence. Now, please, this is just a few points, but very important points. Please try to concentrate. Why can't I see Krishna? For the same reason, because I am selfish. Because I measure everything by myself. It is very easy to feel existence of God in the world. And Krishna is telling also, it is very clearly, Maya Dekshena Prakriti. Now the whole world is spinning. Krishna is telling under my supervision. It is undergoing changes all the time. Is born and dies. The whole world is revolving, swelling, and it is living and it is dying only because of existence of God. Any normal person can understand this. Everything is world is orderly. Orderliness is a property of what? It's a property of consciousness. Please listen this. This is the important point of the whole section, what we have discussed. Orderliness is the property of consciousness. Matter itself is static. Matter alone cannot exist. Matter needs support. The support of matter is what? Consciousness. And consciousness of whom? God consciousness. Even with our own body, uh, even for our body to exist, we may say, oh, there is a consciousness that existing. Now, some say because of the presence of soul, but that is not complete truth. Our body moves and exists only because of Paramatma. Please understand, this is very important. One may think, oh, there is because of the soul we are doing. It's not actually true. Only thing the soul is, it is just we are able to little bit conscious of what is happening, but our consciousness is not sufficient to control the body. When Paramatma leaves his body with the soul, the body begins to fall apart. So it is thanks to the existence of Paramatma, everything happens. You may say, how can you prove it? With my consciousness, I provide the vital activity to the body. But our consciousness is not like that. We are very, very small. I can sit and think. Now, with our consciousness, are we able to digest food? Say, now, how many of you are thinking consciously, okay, now I will digest it. Now I need to release my chemicals from the liver so that it goes to the intestine, and I have to give order to my pancreas. I have to produce this type of chemicals. How many of you are thinking and doing it consciously? That means we are not operating our body. Who is operating then? Our consciousness is very limited. Our consciousness is insignificant. It becomes even more embarrassing if we control our body. We will not be able to even move ahead also. We cannot move even one step. The whole body is controlled by Paramatma only. Now I am able to speak. How I am able to speak? Paramatma only allows. I myself cannot do. I only, that is so tiny, so small, our consciousness, I can only desire. So the Paramatma, the higher consciousness governs the whole world. Just as much as super soul exists in the world moves. The world is in order. And just as much as super soul enters our body with you, our body acts with us. It's painful to admit because we think, well, how I can do something. No, we are not doing it. Paramatma is doing. So we should acknowledge and recognize this. Having felt the existence of God, then we should be surprised. Like there is a Pluto, one philosopher. He said, we are studying the philosophy, and philosophy is ultimately love of wisdom. So, so he was Fuller said that philosophy begins with uh, where does the spiritual life begins? Where does the path of understanding begins? With compassion, with faith. Uh, but he said philosophy begins with amazement. And the fact, the path to comprehend God and comprehending myself is a marvel. It's infinitely deep world. So this is what he says, that we should be oh surprised that wow, such even small thing also. So this is he says that it's like a similar to a child playing in a sandbox. We are doing everything. We are trying to control it, the whole world. When scientists describe the world, he looks like a it's so small, tiny person. He's trying to understand, but it is actually it does not work like that. We are just small creatures trying to. He does not understand the life. First thing we must do is to become amazed about the creation. Must take and be amazed. Wake up in the morning, get up and be amazed that the sun is rising. How could it not? And it could not have risen uh, because it's how the Lord created it. So this is especially we have to enjoy this. It's a festival, the creation of Lord, because work is behind all this. The Krishna, Krishna's work is behind all this, and behind all this there is a will of Lord. This is we have to see, and when we feel, then we start feeling gratitude in the heart, and feeling of gratitude, feeling of amazement, admiration, and this is the beginning of spiritual life. And spiritual life without gratitude, without the feeling that I cannot do anything, and God has given everything to me, this is not. Uh, Actually, it is not spiritual life. The first thing we need to is to overflow with this wonder, amazement, delight, and then things will start revealing in a different way. That means the view that we have about the world changes. Understand the whole world exists because the super soul exists. That means we are connecting to a person. You are understanding? Here, when we see amazement, then we see the person behind. If you don't see amazement, say okay, let it be. But we can see the person, and then we ourselves exist because the super soul is in our body, and we owe it completely only to our existence. That even a blade of grass does not move in this world without the will of Supreme Lord. That is the first step that a person must take in order to begin to comprehend God. Right? Now, what do we do after we recognize God's right to exist? We need to learn to see and learn to listen. That it is said that spiritual life, after we receive the first amazement, somehow correctly said, that spiritual life begins with faith. Because faith, on one hand, the act of recognizing that I do not understand anything in this world, on the other hand, it is an opportunity for me to marvel of God, Krishna. So faith means worship before God, delight before God, and amazement before God, all these things. But where do we receive our faith? So, from whom the faith comes? From spiritual master. And the faith that we get from him, and which we should by no means take it for granted. With the help of spiritual master only, we'll get this faith. So here we see this demoniac people, they cannot comprehend this. They don't have this faith. They don't want to develop a relationship with the person. They see this world as material cause and effect. But we see that this material world is having organized way because it is conscious. Because consciousness is there, that's why there is some everything is in harmony. And consciousness of whom? Not my consciousness, not any of our consciousness. It is a consciousness of super soul. You're understanding? That means a person is acting behind all these things. Person means what? I should recognize, I should be amazed, I should develop a relation with the person. Then only it works. Hope you're understanding. So this is what is faith. So the demonic people, they lack this faith, and this lack of faith is cause of all their problems. So and we get from the spiritual master this faith, and we get from this. Not everybody gets. That's why we should be very fortunate if we are getting some faith and we are able to do some activity. We should consider ourselves very fortunate, and we should know it's such a great gift we have received, and we should by no means take it for granted, because whatever we take something for granted, it means ingratitude, and it means ingratitude on my part. What is the faith we received from other? So now the faith that we directly receive from spiritual master is the seed of his existence. This is the realization. He gives the spiritual experience of our uh, Guru is giving his spiritual experience to us. Is helping us to experience something higher, and this is called, we accept this experience, and when we accept someone else's experience, this is called faith. I myself do not have the experience of feeling God. I did not see Krishna, I did not talk to him. But my spiritual master had experience, so I am accepting his experience. The experience of seeing God, the experience of hearing God, but I accept from my spiritual master in his own experience, and in his experience becoming it from, this is called Shraddha. So this is the first step. And when I start to see this world through the eyes of scriptures, through the eyes of my spiritual teacher, I can see something that I have not seen before. I can see this world which is animated, which is permeated by the consciousness of God. Clear? So now what we are doing is we are seeing this world as a conscious activity that is happening. It is not random. It is not material cause and effect. Devotees see it as a conscious thing. First thing we discussed, we should see this vision of this world is Chintya Bheda Bheda. Through this vision, we should see the Lord, through this world. We should see this world is conscious. So Brihadaranyakam explains that it says that the wind is blowing in the world. Why? Out of fear of God. No, we have heard this because God ordered him to blow. Earth revolves in the whole world, not by itself, but because of the fear of Krishna. Suryastapati madbhayat, Indrastapati agnis dahati, and no, uh, vati vatoyam. So this shloka says that sun is walking in the world because of the fear of God. The soul is behind all this. The consciousness is behind all this. That means why the fire is burning? Because Krishna's consciousness is there behind it. Why the water is like that? Because Krishna's consciousness is there behind it. Why the sun is rising? Because Krishna's consciousness is there. Krishna is Paramatma, he is controlling. So everywhere we can see Krishna in that way. We can see the relationship with Krishna in this world very, very clearly with this way. And that is the way we have to look at this world. That the sun shines in this world because Krishna is behind all this. So the super soul is behind, the consciousness is behind this. This is not just some kind of thermonuclear reactions that goes in the sun. No, God begins the thermonuclear reaction. This is very important. Scientists, many of the scientists, they tell how the how the mechanism is working. They say water cycle, food cycle, suns, this, that. So many phenomena they understand in this world. And they explain also properly the phenomena, why it is, how it is working, they can say. But they cannot say why it is working. Why? Because Krishna wanted. The consciousness is behind it. The super soul is behind it. This they cannot understand. See, they understand how. They don't understand why. If you know why, then we know why to act. Same thing. Like I am going through some difficulties. If I know why I have to go through difficulties, then to go through difficulties becomes easier. Yeah, I know the purpose. I know why. Like any type of difficulty to overcome becomes easier because I know the purpose. Because Krishna wanted in that way. Kunti Maharani went through so many difficulties, but she could go through it because she know Krishna wanted like that. Similarly, otherwise, if you know that we are just playing the part of a, the role in a part in the drama written by a stupid, then it becomes very difficult. Why should I suffer for no reason? what is the reason behind it? That is not very clear. So here, this is the point, that something is, it's not just reactions that are happening, but the Krishna wanted that way. That is the most important point. So why is summer replacing spring? Autumn is replacing summer, winter replacing autumn. Why? Because Earth has an oval orbit. It is something closer, and sometimes it is further from moon, closer to moon. But ultimately, Krishna wanted the person who is making this happen. That is why. So God is like a loving mother. If a mother loves her daughter very much, she dresses her several times a day. She will put one dress on her, another and tie a bow and something, and then she likes it. And after some time, she changes the dress three, four times, six times, seven times also they change. Similarly, God looks at this world and thinks, uh, okay, now let there be autumn. And then he says, no, no, let it be winter. Because God is like a loving mother. He is at the same time a father who owns everything also, who controls everything. At the same time, his mother who arranges all the things. And from this vision begins our comprehension of Krishna. Without this, we truly cannot comprehend him, right? And it is said that after this, after a person has taken his first step, he must learn to hear. After faith has come to him in the form of the seed of spiritual existence of a spiritual teacher, he must learn to listen and hear and see. How? Through Shastra Chakshu, not just the way what we are doing previously. The vision should change. Shravanam uh, stands at the beginning of spiritual life. That means we should hear. So how should we listen? What should we must be hearing? That is very important. So Prahlad Maharaj, why he became like that, in spite of Shanda Marka trying their best to change? Uh, because he heard properly. That's why. If we hear properly, we'll also uh, change, and that's the thing. So there are, and here we'll see in the Prabhupada is telling some important things that the members of our Krishna conscious movement are in a position similar to that of Radha. All over the world, 99% of people are godless demons. Therefore, our preaching of Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, is always hampered by many impediments because of their fault of being devotees. So this is actually always happens. So we should not, uh, any time in this world, the number of demons are more only. That is what is the default system here. The demonic mentality or any other mentality where we want to enjoy. The selfishness is so much. We are self-centered. We are conscious, more self-conscious. That is actually the problem we all face. And that's why we are not able to become closer to Krishna. And if we are trying to be devotees, then people will become insecure because they feel that this person is doing something odd and it makes people insecure. They don't want us. They want to be us to be diseased like them only. If you show the symptoms of a cured person, definitely a person who is diseased, he will become insecure. It is always there. And we should be a little careful, especially when we are intensely we want to practice. We should not create enemies and we should not make people insecure around us. This is another very important thing we should take care. And what happens is sometimes because of our lack of faith, we try to push others to take to Krishna consciousness. Say, I am practicing Krishna consciousness. I entered into Krishna consciousness. And this I also did when I was there. I started practicing. Then immediately I started telling to my friends who are working and all. Said, you should do this, you should do this. And I used to send some articles here, there, here, there. I was doing it because I was not myself completely convinced. I know this is right, but somehow there is some sort of insecurity. That's why I'm trying to push others to take. But later we understand, no, it's not the way. We have to ourselves become very stable. And when others are arguing or anything, we should not become angry or upset. We should know that let me be convinced about it properly, thoroughly. Let me clear myself with all my doubts. Then we can help others to overcome their situations. That is the thing we should do. We uh, should not become insecure. So this is another reason of people's arguing or fighting or doing other things. Devotees also fight. Devotees also argue. That means they are not very clear about their understanding. That's why they do such things. We should not feel insecure. We should say, okay, if that is their understanding, it's we should feel compassionate and we are not, we should not neglect also. We should try somehow or other to make them understand. But for that to go, we should be thoroughly convinced. And when it comes to uh, other religions or anything, this is very, very important to understand. It is not possible to make everybody like there are people say if everybody becomes Hindu Rashtra nowadays it's a buzzword. They say Hindu Rashtra. But what happens if everybody becomes Hindus? Nothing is going to happen. Everything will remain like that, or it may become worse also. Like so many people are Hindus, but what they do, they tomorrow is Sunday in Hyderabad. 99% of the people they are non-veg. They are Hindus only. At least 70% will be Hindus. They all eat non-veg. So what are they doing? They are going to hell. There are so many organizations in we have Brahma Kumaris, Art of Living, Isha, and these that so many people. If you take their philosophy and if you see a little bit, we'll see whoever is seriously practicing them, 100% they will go to hell because they're very, very badly offending Krishna. They are all Hindus, na? That means they are all going to hell. What is the point being a Hindu? Then it does not make any sense there. It is all bogus. They say they are all Hindu organizations. But Hindu organizations sending them to hell. But if somebody in Islam or Christianity, if he's following a sattvic life, is living a life of mode of goodness, he will be elevated. That means what? It does not matter which religion you are. It is more important what type of lifestyle we are living, what type of faith a person. If somebody is living sattvic life, he will definitely be elevated. That is the point. And another important aspect is that here, uh, where mm, when Prabhupada is preaching also, not on Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they are very quite open. They are trying to do friendship with Britishers also. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is working under the British system. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is inviting Viceroy for the opening of the temple because he's not bothered about what is the political situation, what is the social situation. They are very clear. This is not going to work. No matter whatever political situation you make, no matter whatever situation is there, it's not going to change anything in this world. People are going to do sense gratification only. Who is opposing? When we stayed, we had a center, and besides us, they're all Hindus only. We were doing offering. Generally, what we do for everything we want to eat, even we want to eat some fruits, or we want to drink some juice, or we want to do anything, we offer it to Krishna and then take. And every time we ring the bell, we're offering. And the neighbor was so upset. He said, these people are doing aarti 7 times a day, 8 times a day. He used to count our offering, he used to think we are doing aartis. He said, how can we stay in such a place where every whole day they are doing aarti? I don't want to stay in temple. I I am feeling as if I am staying in temple because of these neighbors. So we have to vacate the place. So This happens many places. Of course, sometimes devotees are quite insensitive also. At 4:30 they will start doing Mangalarti, ringing and shouting and dancing with the speaker and mridang and all. That is not correct. But in normal way also people are not very happy with staying with devotees. They don't like because it really threatens their existence only. They say, how can we, how can, uh, they don't like in the trains or sometimes where we travel. People don't like to see devotees. They feel very, very uncomfortable because it is challenging their way of living. That is another problem with them. It directly challenges. This is, oh, these people are telling I cannot enjoy. And many of them, they say, oh, Bhagavad Gita, I don't want to touch. Because what is threatening them? Because they have a very strong desire to enjoy and they don't want to give up the desire. And they're afraid if I read Bhagavad Gita, I may lose that desire. That is a problem. So these are like, and we should not get worried if people criticize and all. Prabhupada says, yeah, if people are criticizing, that means we are doing something wrong. If they don't criticize, they are appreciating, then we have to be a little more, we have to be a little calm. That so uh, this is an understanding. I, I just made 2 3 points only in the class, not much, but just trying to. We'll take questions, sir.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Wonderful points and the practical also. Thank you so much. Prabhu, I have one question, Prabhu, if I may ask. You mentioned something about super soul is controlling everything. Super soul is the one who is doing everything, right? And some people, things happen bad, and maybe sometimes we do things that are not appropriate, or at least maybe to the consciousness it is good, right? For example, I want to chant properly and without offense, and I want to do read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, but still the mind goes somewhere and doing. So if the super soul is in control of everything, why like I'm just giving a bad example, but I think there are other things in the world that is happening. So I don't know if I'm able to convey my question properly, Prabhu. So how do I understand that?
Yeah, what happens is super soul is basically Upadrishta Hanumanta. He is a he is sanctioner and he is overseer and sanctioner. He's not the he's not uh, interfering our free will. So he want us to do good things. He want us to behave rightly, and he always try to prompt us to do right things in good way. But if the living entity is so stubborn, he don't want to change, he don't want to listen, then super soul just sanctions. Now Krishna, more than us, Krishna want that we chant nicely. But the certainly we have a strong desire to enjoy in this world. That is what is blocking us. Krishna want us to do it. What is blocking me from chanting is my mind only. My desires are so strong to enjoy because if we really seriously look, if I chant, the meaning of the chanting, if you see, I don't want it. What is the meaning of proper chanting means? I don't want to enjoy anymore in this world. I just always want to serve Krishna. Now, how much I have that intense desire to serve Krishna? Uh, So, if we see, I really don't want it. Now, theoretically, I know, but when it comes, say Krishna comes and stays with you in your home, how many days will you keep Krishna with you? Because whole day you have to be conscious. Krishna is there in my house. In now, if Krishna is there in altar, so it is easy. You can cook offer, do some arti, close the curtain, and whole day you are with yourself. You can be cool. But if suddenly Krishna comes to your house, you say, I am with you. And how much we are ready to serve him. After 3 days, we'll say, Krishna, there are so many devotees in my congregation. Why don't you go and stay in their house? Why me only for all 3 days? You can give service to others also. We cannot handle Krishna. That means really that much consciously to serve Krishna is not our desire. Theoretically, I know that I have to chant nicely, but if the situation comes where, say, not Krishna, even if your spiritual master comes and 3 4 days, 1 week he stays, na, After 1 week, you will only feel, because it is so heavy to take care of him. Whole day, you have to be conscious. Na? Morning, evening, night, every moment you have to be conscious because he's spiritual master there. After 1 week, we cannot handle. It's too heavy for us. We'll say, Maharaj, there are so many devotees. Why don't you give service to them? So, when same thing, I may feel that I want to chant nicely, but if you really work with the meaning and understand it, then in the core of my heart, still that desire is not so strong. So, Paramatma, he want to do it more faster than us. We are not so eager. So, what is important is the intense desire is important. So, when a living entity is desiring wrong, like we say the Srirangam, many of the Vaishnavas were killed. You say, why did Lord do it? They are all serving. There were 20,000 Vaishnavas were slaughtered when this Mughal invader came. They were holding their hands to protect Rangana, the deity. And by the time he killed all of them, they built a wall in front of Rangana, and they made some other duplicate deity which he destroyed. Now, I may say, they are protecting Rangana. Why did they do? Now, what happened is the Acharyas explain that there are demons in the lower planetary system, and they strongly desire that they want to come and kill the Vaishnavas. So, Lord has to fulfill the demons' desires also. And they came and they killed. But these Vaishnavas, because they were so conscious of Krishna, they all went to spiritual world. They just chanted Ranga, 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 and everyone was chanting, and everybody is going to spiritual world. And these demons, they are satisfied because their desire is also fulfilled by Paramatma, that they want to kill these devotees, and they kill. So the point is, we cannot understand any activity of the Lord completely. We cannot comprehend. But one thing we can clearly know: it is a living entity's desire that is facilitated by the Lord. It is not his desire. If we really strongly desire to go to spiritual world, Lord is more than happy to take us back to it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Hari, for it. So, Krishna Prabhu, please go ahead and.
Hare Krishna, what happened to your throat, Mataji? Not well. Padma Mataji not able to talk properly.
That's okay, Prabhu. Yeah,
Do,
go ahead,
do
Prabhu.
some gargling. Do some gargling or something, please. Steaming. Prabhu,
Sure, Prabhu.
as usual, Radha Prabhu, thank you. Your class is really amazing. So many points. You go so deep inside, and all self-realizing points. It is not your reading and telling. You're just gone deep. Prabhu, your one thing I like, you told just now, that if Krishna comes and stays in your house, actually, we are not you. I mean, I'm not loving Krishna. I'm just selfish. I want to go back because I don't want to suffer here. I'm also chanting because I'm not really enjoying that. But I know that if I do chanting, Antakale Chamaya, I'll remember and go back. So really, my thing is not to serve him. My thing is I want to save my soul from here to go there. So is it wrong? How do we change this into selfless service, always going to do? But as you said, if Krishna comes and stays, we'll say, how to do Krishna? Then many other people, you can give them chance to serve you. Because we want peace, we want just some rest and all. We don't want to keep on doing. Guru Maharaj comes 6 days and morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We'll keep on. It's a sleepless night ho jayega. So how do we bring that in life? How to make it joyful? How to make it correct?
Yeah,
You made a right
this is
point.
actually yeah, this is when we desire for liberating the soul, it is Jnana Mishra. We are still selfish. We are thinking about ourselves. But that is not where the bhakti starts. Bhakti is when the selfless bhakti. Bhakti is there. This is also bhakti, but it is mixed. But selfless bhakti is when we stop thinking about ourselves and only start thinking about Krishna. Now here also we think about ourselves, about my liberation, my thing. I should be good. I should be free. I should have this. There is still that selfishness going on. So it is a Mishra Bhakti. We need to do pure devotion. We need to feel, we need to start feeling about Krishna. Now, what I do is mostly this is Lord save me, Lord protect me, Lord help me. All this prayer are in one way a selfishness only. It is not in a true sense of prayer. Prayer starts when we give up our ego center and start thinking about Lord and start working for His pleasure. My dear Lord, let you be happy. Let me do for your pleasure. What I get, I don't need anything. You be happy. At least theoretically, we should know that I should come to this standard. So slowly, we start aspiring for it. My dear Lord, I know now I am thinking about my liberation, but I don't want it. I want to become your devotee. Only think about you, work for your pleasure, and start doing for your pleasure. So at least theoretically, we should know that this is the highest, and I need to aspire for that. And then what happens? Sometime, like say when we are chanting, we feel okay. This chanting, it's not for liberating me or helping me, supporting me. It is only for the pleasure of Krishna. When I do kirtan, this kirtan 10 minutes is only for pleasure of Krishna. Let Krishna be happy with this. I don't want anything from it. So slowly, we start making some endeavors in some places where we exclusively do for Krishna. So in that way, we start doing it. We develop that higher taste. Then the desire for liberation, desire to get out of the suffering and all, that will slowly evaporate. But we should start working in this area. That
And
some
Krishna will take care.
services,
But Krishna will also
no.
take care. No?
Krishna will take care. No, Krishna will take care is also selfishness. Why Krishna should take care? You do for him. We don't want anything. He need not do anything for us. We only have to do because we are serving Krishna. We just have to serve him. What Krishna will do? Ashlishlava padaratam vinashtuma madarshna. He will kick me or he will embrace me. It does not matter. What I need is I just have to give him pleasure. Little bit pleasure also, that is what is Gopi Bhav. Krishna Prabhupada is telling, make me dance, make me dance. So this is what Prabhupada is praying. That you just make me dance. I don't need anything from you. Whatever you do, I'm okay with. This is what is Gopi Bhav. Gopis, we want to develop that bhav where I don't want anything from Lord. I'm happy getting an opportunity to serve Him. This is where we have to reach. This is the aspiration. And slowly we have to work in that direction. And then the fear that I will suffer, I have to get out of this, that will automatically go away because we'll not see any difference in that. The fear is because we are seeing things separate from Krishna. But when we start developing this mood, we don't see things separate from Krishna. We will see everything in connection to Krishna. Then we will not be fearful. Then we don't mind whether we are in the spiritual world. Then no Swarga Pavarga Narkeshu Apitulyartha Darshan Narayana Parasarve na Kutasya Vidyati. Whether Lord Shiva is telling to Parvati, Chitrika Tumara's case, he says, oh, these are devotees of Krishna. They don't mind even hell or heaven. They are always interested in service of the Lord. But that is the state we have to develop. Narayana Parasarve na Kutasya. When we start thinking about Krishna, then we don't mind where we are. Like if a mother loves the child, she is so much absorbed in the child, wherever she is, in the bus or train or home and all, her love for the child is so much, she sometimes becomes aloof from circumstances. She is so much into the absorption that she does not mind where she is. So when we develop that mood of serving Krishna, we does not matter where we are. We are only interested in giving him pleasure. Wherever he gives me, it is up to him. But I get an opportunity to serve him. That is what is my satisfaction, my pleasure. So for us, going back home, back to Godhead, we have to aspire for it. But after some level, it does not matter for us. When we reach a level, we say, "Oh my dear Lord, it is. I'm just happy to serve opportunity for service only."
I found one solution for me. This temple construction is starting next week. I'll be in touch with you. But I found my chanting is not proper. So I found your god brother, Anand Vrindavan Prabhu, yesterday I spoke, Narasimha Chaudhary. So today I joined. So every day, 1.5 hours attendance. And they're chanting, they're looking in the video whether I'm sleeping or talking. So my chanting will become better. And every Saturday, Sunday, 32 rounds. And once in a month, 64 rounds. Once in 3 months, 128 rounds. And once in a year, 192 rounds. So I think if I can somehow get into the gang of the devotees, 200 devotees of chanting, so I found that is going to help. Because then I can do the other work will come automatically. So
If you are, because the purpose of your building temple is to the chant nicely. If you are any
yes.
activity you are doing, it should, the purpose is that you should chant nicely. If that is happening, means all your service are happening properly only. All our
And
purpose
I
ultimately is
can
to chant.
add more people in the same team in the morning, so that will automatically take care. So
We
I
build
seek a
temple, we do anything to get absorption, to
yeah,
develop more and more remembrance of Krishna. This is the
yes.
way to get absorption.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Please, I seek your blessings. Hare
Please,
Krishna.
you
Yeah.
should bless me. I'll become sincere
Hare
like you are so nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Prabhu. Radha Jyoti Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your
Then,
class. So many practical things that you have told. Prabhuji, I have two questions. One is you spoke about the intense desire in one of the answer. So say suppose I pray to Lord that I want that intense desire just to serve you, and does in this process will that anartha that is the stage that mm, I'm struggling, so that anarthas will vigorously come towards me if I pray or if I ask. Could you please teach on this?
I didn't understand the question.
You said that if we pray to Lord, if I pray to Lord that I want that intense desire to serve
Okay.
selflessly, then will the anarthas that are holding me back will come to me vigorously in the form of say problems or say some other things? What exactly happens if I pray like this?
Oh, if we pray intense, our anarthas won't come. They come according to whatever they are there. If they are not there, they'll not come. If they are there, then only they'll come. And uh, what happens is we'll have different levels of test, which Krishna shows us. Actually, what happens is we have some problems and we have to face our problems. And then Krishna will give the strength, Krishna will give intelligence to overcome them. He, if we are not having anarthas, they will not come. Only whatever is there, they are only going to come. And our praying intensely will definitely help us to become closer to Krishna. And what happens is we will be tested. That is true. And test will also be to the degree you are doing intensely, to the degree problems are also going to come so fast. Because if we want to get purified very fast, we have to work on the purification also like that. Like I want to become very closer to Krishna, then I have to pass all the exams also very fast. Say somebody want to become PhD at the age of 18, then you have to write the exams also very, very fast. In every 6 months, he can clear one subject. So similarly, if you want to go to Krishna very fast, intensely, then we have to face tests, and tests are there for everyone at all levels. They will have test, basically testing their faith. So the intensity is always there, and it happens. But
So
according
Prabhuji,
to our
you mean
anathas,
that the purification is nothing but the intensity of desire to have Krishna? Is it? Because what purification definition I understood or I think is uh, having no lust or desire, angry, all those envy, jealousness, all those stuff not having is purification. But what you're saying, according to that, the purification is to have that intense desire to have Krishna. Is my understanding correct, Prabhuji?
yeah. So that is everything goes like that. Say now I am very intense that I want to practice. Then what happens? I have to face all my anarthas also in front of me. Like say now I am okay with my lust, so I'll not have problem. But I am very serious. I want to get rid of lust because I want to be very close to Krishna. So I have to face that. Then I have to solve it. So now we have anarthas, but we are not able to see them because we are okay. But when I'm very intensely practicing, then I will see everything. Oh, I have this also, I have this also, I have this also. So now then you'll see, then you'll, Manasiksha is the same book. Manasiksha is a very important book in that regard. Manasiksha gives that guidance, proper understanding, that it takes you in the proper direction. It shows you what is the reality, how, what level, what type of anarthas we face, and how to overcome them. So that to the degree you are intense, you are able, there is a guidelines that are given, what all things you will get. It is not just lust, greed, pride, anger. There is puja, la, pratishtha, which are much more settler and more settler than that. So it is all very nicely explained in Manasiksha. So that will give that guidelines, what all things I will face and how to overcome them. So yes, that's correct.
What is it, Prabhuji? Manashiksha
Manasiksha.
book. Is it a book?
Yeah, Raghunath Das Goswami's book. Yeah.
And Prabhuji, you mentioned one statement, so it is very practical. It really touched my heart. You said that if we are practicing and someone is criticizing, it means that we are practicing in a right way. So how that logic is to comprehend, it's very difficult for me. Could you please explain on this and teach more?
See, what happens, any activity you do, not only just spiritual activity, and material activity also, no? People have to face this world. If they want to become, say, any big politician, they have to take criticism. If they want to become a film actor or if they want to become a sports player, everybody has to face challenges. It's not so easy path. And what to speak of spirituality, it is much, much more challenging because we are exactly going opposite to the what whole world is going. And people will become insecure when we are doing any activity which is against the common people. Say, I'm going with this dress, dhoti kurta, shaven head, tilak, shika, kantimala, all these things. And in the metro train I'm going, everybody is wearing a Western dress, and I'm only person who is wearing a traditional. Obviously, people will look little, I look little odd, but I have to accept it. This is what I want to live. This is the challenge. Now we have to face the world like that, and then that is, some people will become insecure. They will not like it, and they will challenge. They will oppose. They'll criticize. They'll make a comment. But I am fine because I have taken up this challenge, and it's good that we have to do it. And if you put a tilak and kantimala and go to your work or office or college, people will definitely take an objection because they cannot tolerate. It is going against their way of living. But we have to take up the challenge and we have to stand. And there will be opposition. Anywhere, even material world also. And spirituality, much more opposition will get you. But what happens when you start standing like that, slowly, slowly people will accept you. Not only accepting, after next level, they'll start trying to follow what you are doing. And that is what we want to achieve. Like Prabhupada, when he was going in the West, people suggested Swamiji should wear pant and shirt, eat with fork and knife. Prabhupada said, no, I don't want to follow what they are doing. I want to give them what we are following. Prabhupada went, there was challenges. He was completely odd. But because he was standing there, people became like him. That is what we want to. We should not, we should take up the challenge. That is quite exciting.
So, Prabhuji, one more question. Say one is practicing sincerely and a non-devotee is not able to accept it, or as you said that it is for them it is very difficult to accept the fact that some person could do that. But as a devotee we understand that we are not doing, Krishna is doing, or Krishna gives that strength to practice, or say, or to chant even, or to everything that we do is the doer is Krishna. But for others who are not ready to accept, it's really challenging for them. And if the there is a friction and if it is not tolerable, then what that devotee is supposed to do?
We have to be very careful. We should handle the situation, take guidance, and take help. We should come out of it. We should not become exploited. If somebody is trying to exploit you or trying to get trouble, we should avoid it. We should try to come out of it. We should use intelligence Krishna has given. And anybody is exploiting, we should exploit in terms of making comment, criticizing, or some type of things. We should not go through it. It is not correct. We should be quite shrewd, intelligent to come out of it. We should take the challenge Whatever is needed, we should do the needful. Don't get, we should not remain humble in that situation. It's not correct. Take the challenge and give them the proper, uh, whatever is needed treatment, they should do it.
Prabhuji, is there any
So
shloka or
if they are
anything
too,
that I can, for this explanation in detail?
yeah, when Prabhupada was, we can see from Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada was never like, Mr. N was trying to cheat Prabhupada, and Prabhupada did all means to see that he does not cheat. So, like that, Prabhupada's life, we can see how he, it happened in New York also. They tried to cheat their disciples with the land. So, Prabhupada nicely fought and he took it back. So, it happened many places in Prabhupada's life, and that's the only thing we learn from, one of the things we learn from Prabhupada, that we have to be very shrewd. We cannot just, tolerate. We cannot be naive. See, we are strict, we are compassionate, we are humble. But when it comes to dealings, we should be very shrewd. We should be proper in that. Shloka, I don't
Okay.
know, but from Prabhupada's life, I understand.
I'll go back and read more about it. Thank you so much. And eternally grateful to you for your session today. I will hear it so many times to understand it again and again. I don't think one hearing is enough for today's session. I'm really grateful to you. Thank you so much.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Thank you for your kind words.
Can you hear me, Prabhu? There are some
Yes,
questions in
ma'am.
the chat box, Prabhu. Prabhuji, what happens to consciousness during the anesthesia?
For some time, there is some numbness that is experienced. So they're actually just putting some chemicals. I don't know what exactly it happens at the scientific terms. I also don't know, but what I understand is you inject some chemicals for some particular time, they can create that numbness. But it's not that consciousness is not there, it is there, it is activated, super soul is acting, but the pain is not there. So, this is some technology that has been developed by the scientists, so they can give some chemicals and help them to avoid pain. That is the only thing that is understood, but I also don't know much. Once, if I hear anything more about it, I'm not sure about it. I'll find out.
Thank you. Thank you. And I see Tiffy Mataji saying, thank you for such a beautiful class, Radha Pramod Prabhu, she was saying. And there is a question from Manmohan Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, you said Krishna is behind everything, like heat in the fire, the change of seasons, the fragrance of flowers, etc. But Prabhuji, the unwanted activities like tsunami, earthquake, dead child born, if Supreme Personality of Godhead is behind everything, then why would he manifest these horrendous activities? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So,
my question was also in the same back.
uh,
Thank you.
so here, see, this Supreme Personality of Godhead in a form of Paramatma is there, not as Bhagavan form. So, two different things. Please try to understand. As a Paramatma, he is witnesser and sanctioner. He is Upadrashta Anumanta Bhakta Bhakta Maheshwara. But as a Bhagavan, he is very compassionate. But as a Paramatma, is a neutral person. So we have Brahman feature, we have Paramatma feature, Bhagavan feature. Brahman feature is the all-pervading, the energy aspect. Paramatma feature is the conscious energy that is activating. He's activating and doing everything, sanctioner and doer. As a Bhagavan feature, he is actually very compassionate, loving mother, father, and all the leaders that happens. So when we are dealing with Bhagavan, the rules are different. When you are dealing with Paramatma, rules are different. So when you are seeing that Krishna, Rama, or anything, in that form, Lord is very merciful, very reciprocating. He changes the rules and he does many activities. But as a Paramatma, he is only sanctioning and according to the will of the living entities and their
Prabhu, we cannot hear you. I don't know if just me or anybody else has the problem. I think it
from
kind
my
of froze.
Close.
Frozen.
Like we might have a bad internet connection. Just give a couple of minutes, maybe it'll be back. Oh, I think it got disconnected.
I'm sorry, actually. So
Yeah, Prabhu, it was
yes,
froze and we couldn't hear you, Prabhu. Sorry.
yeah. No, I'm sorry. Actually, so the point what I was telling is, if it is before or after, now died, but it didn't happen because they were in the ocean. So that time only they were in the ocean. So this is the point. So Lord is not doing blindly, even though it is happening in a proper way only. It is happening. It is not happening blindly. So there is a proper rule that is happening. So here we see that same thing. If we take the World Trade Center, so one devotee Mataji, she was working there. 1 month before the World Trade Center was attacked, she was fired from the job. Now she thought, oh, I am without a job now. I am not in this building. But after 1 month, she understood, oh, it was Krishna's arrangement. So it does not happen by chance. Any accident, any tsunami, or any corona that is happening. Like we have one very nice story at one couple. They worked very hard, saved so much money, and they purchased ticket for a cruise ship. And suddenly they have three children, one small few maybe 1 2 years baby girl they were having, and she fell sick and she got cholera. And then the cruise management they said no, we cannot allow because it's a contagious disease. So they had to stay back. It was a small girl. The father stayed, mother stayed back, all the children, and they were very unhappy that they could not go in the ship. But after 1 day they were very happy because that cruise ship happened to be Titanic. So the point is they they missed the ship, but they missed which ship? They missed Titanic. So it's so Lord, any accidents or anything that are happening, no, it is not happening by chance. This Paramatma is just neutral, is just giving what the person desires, what the person deserves, sorry, and desires and deserves both. So, but Bhagavan feature is something different. When Krishna comes, he changes the rules. You go to Krishna and say, Krishna, I am sorry, whatever I did. Krishna says, okay, no problem, come with me. I'll forgive all the things. So the Paramatma feature is different, but Bhagavan feature is different. So here people, when they go to Krishna and say surrender to him, Krishna is serving, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mamekam Sharan, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. I will remove all the sins. That's why we have to do bhakti to come out of all these things. For people who don't surrender to Krishna, then he is acting as a Paramatma. Only karma will act on him. That's why. So when we see that things are happening in this world, we should know that it is just action reaction that is happening, sanctioned by Lord, according to the living entities' desires and according to their karmas. Like clear.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, then you mean to say Paramatma is also whatever he is doing under the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, right?
He is actually is a partial expansion of Supreme Personality of Godhead only. Is not different. He's Supreme Lord himself, but he is in that feature. He's a partial feature of Supreme Lord.
Okay, so Paramatma, Supreme Lord is so loving, then why, like, a person like I gave an example, like, a fetus, if it is born, like, it is dead in the beginning itself. So what would be the explanation for that? Like, a dead child born for a lady who is, but Mata is so loving. So why would he do something like that?
Yeah, so the point is like, say, in the previous life, we don't say this, no, we don't know why exactly. Like, in the previous life, if somebody has done abortions or somebody has killed or somebody did he was a doctor in the previous life and he did so many, he's a gynecologist and he's doing so many abortions. Now, if he is born in the next life, should he get punishment or not? So they'll get punishment. So it looks like they are innocent, but nobody is innocent. Previous life, what they did and why they are getting this reaction, we never know. In this life, they look innocent, but it's not this one life. We should see so many life. Means I am
Thank you,
not
Prabhu.
telling that the devotee or that they did some sinful activity. I'm just telling we cannot know, but nothing happens by chance.
Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Right. Villain Mataji.
Hey, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. I don't see any other raised hands or any chat questions, Prabhu, anymore. I see Radha Jyoti Mataji is saying thanks a
Thank you.
million. Thanks for the point lessons for today. Thank you, Prabhu. I think if we devotees, if we don't have any other questions, maybe we can pay our obeisance to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpataru.
वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
Prasya
कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च
कृपा एव च
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
नमो
नमः
नमो नमः
वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
वैष्णव
अनंत
वृंद की
वैष्णव
जय।
वृंद की जय
His
श्रील
grace,
प्रभुपाद
Radha
की
प्रभुपाद की
जय
जय।
जय।
जय
जय हो
जय
राधा
जय
प्रभु
हरे कृष्ण
हो
प्रभु जी,
गौरंगा
दंडवत प्रणाम।
जय हो
नित्यानंदा
दंडवत प्रणाम।
नित्यानंदा
गौरंगा
गौरंगा
गौरंगा।
गौरंगा